What's up, good people, and welcome to another morning money motivation. And today I want to talk about the topic of tough love. Tough love. I think this is something that we need to discuss right now because we're moving into, I feel, a state in, the world where everybody is experiencing something different than they're used to. And we've been moving into this state for a little while now. A lot of people have been talking about it, and it's something that for some people it's a good thing because they're waking up to an alternative to something that they've been going through that they didn't want to go through. And for some others, it's kind of a state of getting to a place where they're not understanding where they should be in the world. And I want to really talk about, it from a perspective of, tough love. We sometimes we need a little bit of tough love in the fact that we have to get out of our feelings about the things that are happening around us and really focus on the change that we can make or the changes that we can make in our lives. And that's, it's easier said than done in a lot of different ways or a lot of different, scenarios. Sometimes we're experiencing something that is outside of our control or is outside of our scope of affecting what we can affect. And it's hard for us to get to that place of understanding our power. And that's really what it's all about in terms of being able to change something or affect something. You have to understand your power. And a lot of times to understand your power, you first have to admit that everything you're doing may not be right, or you may be going in the wrong direction in a lot of ways, or you may be experiencing something through a lens of, looking at somebody else's life or looking at something else that you want to emulate, and it's not necessarily for you. So getting to that place and understanding those things is the first step to really moving into, the new realm or the new you, the new person that you're supposed to be. And it may just be, not a new person, but the actual person that you've been keeping at bay and, not allowing to blossom and fulfill the things that you're supposed to fulfill in life. And I think, it's a very critical thing to look at. We can look critically at ourselves and move into things when we are able to admit that, I don't have all the answers. I'm not always in a place that I need to be in to do the things that I need to do to move forward. And it's funny because a lot of times what we see now is people are getting into a state of placing blame on everything else, and that's a really easy state to get into where, yes, there are extenuating circumstances and things that are outside of our control and things that we need to correct in the world, but we cannot allow ourselves to get into the state of I'm not going to do anything because that's something they're doing to me, or this is something that is more powerful than me because it's been happening for this amount of time, or the history of this makes me feel inadequate because it's something that I can see has happened to a lot of other people. Just all these things that we convince ourselves of. We are setting ourselves up to say I can't in a lot of ways about, our lives, the things we want, entrepreneurship, money, finances, all the things that we feel that, yes, on one side we want out of life or, want to be compelled to complete. But on the other side, we're making this excuse or making excuses, giving ourselves reasons to not achieve those things every day. And again, I'm not saying that there aren't reasons. The reasons exist. Nature exists. You know, when I was having a conversation a little bit earlier, and we were talking about the foundation of just life. And, you know, one of the fundamental things that in nature, you know, if you don't work, you don't eat. You know, just the basics of if you don't exercise your ability to do something about your situation's not going to change. If you don't take action, nothing is going to happen. That's just a basic fundamental fact of nature. And I said this was going to be some tough love. So if you're feeling a little, you know, edgy about this conversation, I'm sorry, because this episode is really about tough love. We have to take action in our lives. We have to move forward beyond the place of placing blame on other situations, beyond the place of allowing other people to take our power or allowing situations to take our power. It's easy to give your power away because, especially if you're getting something in exchange for it. For instance, you know, most people, we get up, we go to school, we go to work, you know, we live lives that allow us comforts in exchange for us not having to hunt for and gather for our own food. You know, make sure that we are clothed, make sure that we are in line and in tune with nature. See, we don't want to be in line and in tune with nature because that's work. It's work. It's easy to say, no, I'm civilized, which is, yeah, we're all civilized. But if you look at the core of what civilization is doing to us as people, we are so out of line with nature in that we don't know how to get the basics that we need from nature anymore. We have to rely on someone else to do that for us. This is tough love, people. We have to rely on someone else to do that for us. And most of us are born into this. Most of us are born into the lives we live right now where we have no clue about connecting with our natural selves and where we're supposed to be in line with nature or anything else. We do the things that we're told. We get up, we go to school, we go to work, we come home, we party, we live a life of debauchery. And, you know, that's what it is. But there comes a time when you have to realign yourself. And there's nothing wrong with civilization. That's not what I'm saying. And I don't want anybody to take this the wrong way. There's nothing wrong with being civilized. There's nothing wrong with having the comforts of life. There's nothing wrong with being progressive that way. There's something I feel wrong with not being harmonious enough with nature to be able to not be sick, to not be, you know, caught up in situations where you don't know how to take care of yourself, to be caught up in situations where, you know, your very life, the core of your happiness in life is tied to things and the ability to acquire things that you don't need. That's dangerous. And that's where we've been. Now, let's move forward. Let's get beyond this point. Let's move into a state in life that is welcoming to who we really are. Who are we, you may ask? We are people. We are human beings that should be harmonious with nature. We should be connected to ourselves, to each other in a harmonious state. We should be, you know, able to show each other love and compassion. We should be able to, you know, understand where our food comes from. We should be able to understand what we're doing to the world or the planet that we live on. We should know these things. Let's connect these dots. I want to give you a homework assignment. I want you, everyone listening to this, I want you to take a breath, think about where you are in your life, in your life's journey. Think about that today. Take some time to think about that. Think about how you can connect to your natural self and to the things that are around you that sustain you. Think about how you connect to those things today. If it's, your water source, your air, the air you breathe, the food you eat. Think about how those things are enriching you and how you are able to gather and pull those things to you without giving that power away to someone else. Now, I'm not saying you have to go out and start farming or anything of that nature, or, do anything outside of what you're doing right now, other than give it thought. Think about how the things that sustain you come to you. Where do they come from? Why do they come from where they come from? Give that some thought today. Thank you for being here. Thank you for always being here. And until next time, I wish you health, wealth, and freedom.